Labels such as organic, free from, or cruelty-free might be a lot less than you would think, since there is no legal definition of green or eco-friendly. Hello, this is Marigona, and here is a rough life cycle analysis of carbon footprint of food products in a store. The choices you make in the supermarket tell managers what to stock and farmers what to grow. This is how you can make the first important impact on protection towards the environment. One method of judging an item's eco-friendliness is to examine the carbon emissions at every step of creating a particular food item, from planting the first seed right up until the final product lands into your shopping cart, or better yet, until the empty container, if there is one, is recycled into a new product. For example, take a bottle of ketchup. First, you've got the raw production of all the ingredients, primarily sugar and tomatoes. Into this production go lots of pesticides, fertilizers, and water. Plenty of fossil fuel energy is used to plant, spray, and harvest the crops. The harvested raw products are shipped, more carbon emissions, to factories where they are converted into secondary products like tomato paste and sugar solution. The secondary products meet up in the ketchup factory, and the final product is packed in bottles, which is the whole production process of their own. The finished product is shipped to stores and then finally makes it into our households. When the ketchup container is empty, it heads over to the landfill, or one hopes into the recycling center. As you can imagine, doing this for every food item on the market is a lot of work, but it also helps customers make informed choices. Several certifications and organizations have formed to perform this sort of analysis on food and other products, and carbon footprint or environmental impact labels might one day be as common on foods as the nutrition label is now. But until then, it is good to have some general guidelines on how much effect a certain food product that you buy impacts the environment. A basic environmentally friendly choice would be less processing, or potentially no processing at all. For example, frozen carrots. They have a carbon footprint 3 times greater than the fresh carrots due to the additional processing that goes into preparing and freezing them, even if they are organic. The carbon emissions of a food item are mainly concentrated in 3 parts: its production and transport, its cover, if it's paper or plastic, and its type, if it's meat or dairy, which mainly dominate in emissions. The carbon emissions of beef are 8 times that of chicken. 2/3 of the impact is on the farm for processes such as machinery, heating of greenhouses for the countries that don't have the right climate, or the use of fertilizer. It takes a huge amount of energy to keep a greenhouse warm enough to grow fruits and vegetables during the winter. For example, 1 kilo of organic traditional tomatoes grown locally produce around 0.4 kilos of CO2 emissions. Meanwhile, 1 kilo of organic cherry tomatoes on the vine grown in a greenhouse during winter season produces up to 50 kilos of CO2 emissions. Paper and cardboard are often more carbon intensive than plastic packaging because making paper takes much more energy, but also because it emits methane if it ends up in the landfill, which is 25 times more powerful than CO2. The supermarket's own operations make up about 11% of the total picture. As one simple example, the creation of plastic yogurt containers uses twice as much energy as any other portion of the production process, including making the yogurt. Plastic is about 6% of carbon footprint as you shop. When possible, buy products in bulk so that the packaging is minimized, or at least go for products with recyclable or reusable packaging. Try going without meat 1 day each week, or switch from environmentally damaging meats like beef to more eco-friendly fare like chicken. Meat consumption in Japan, the country with the world's highest longevity, has recently been below 30 kilos per year. Similarly, in France, traditionally a high meat intake country, there have been reports to no more than 39 kilos of meat per year per adult. I have a special video dedicated to a healthy diet that adds less stress to the environment, and you can find the link right below. Switching to dairy has all the same problems as ruminant meat production carbon-wise, so there is little point in switching from beef to cheese. Last but not least, I would like to point out the main factor of all, which is food waste. Food intended for human consumption that is not consumed is defined as food loss or food waste. It represents 30% of all food produced, or 1.3 billion tons, with a value of $750 billion and a carbon footprint of 4.4 billion tons of CO2 equivalent emissions. If these emissions were to be a country, it would rank as the third biggest emitter after China and the US. It is slightly better to compost waste food than to throw it into the landfill, but it doesn't get you away from the main issue that the carbon footprint of that food has been needlessly incurred. The average household spends up to $200 on food waste each month. If we avoid producing food that we don't eat, we can save the land, water, and the energy that would have been used to make it. And the awareness is a good first step. Educating customers about food waste could prevent a carbon footprint of 4.4 billion tons of CO2 equivalent emissions. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.